Good morning. John Fiocla here with GAI Insights, bringing you the Gen AI news briefing, rating your top news essential, important, or optional, putting time in your day and thoughts in your mind. We have a number of guest raters here today. We have Nick Bauer, we have Ari, and of course, Ankaj, and yours truly, John Fiocla. So we have 6 articles to review today. Everything from a fantastic new framework brought to us by OpenAI through the Wall Street Journal whinging about we need return. All right. Let's go ahead and start with this one. We start with the Tesla Cybercab announced by Elon Musk. So, Akash, you want to start us off with this one? Where's your rating on this?
Good, thanks, John. So this one about Tesla Cybercab, I think I included this because this has been one of the most interesting news in the last few days. So really great to see the Cybercab uh, just driving itself on the Warner Brothers roads. But yeah, as per me, optional for the AI leader, but an interesting development overall.
Yes, very interesting. I would give it an optional as well. We've got Elon Musk here delivering a cybercab with no steering wheel, no gas pedals, completely autonomous. But it's supposed to be built, I think, in 2 years from now, 2026. And my guess is that he's trying to support a flagging stock price of Tesla because he's really got some pretty heavy duty global competition in the context of the business. So he has to prove to the world that he is a robot come energy company to keep his stock price up would be my take. But yeah, optional for the AI leader. What do you think, Avi, Nick? You guys okay with optional? Not that this is a democracy, but I wanted your input.
It looks like an optional to me as well.
Alrighty.
Yeah, same.
All right, optional it is. Ankaj, next, please.
Okay, the next one comes from Dario Amodi, and it talks about the machines of loving grace. So it's a long essay which talks about how AI can improve a lot in different fields, including biology, neuroscience, economic development, the peace and governance, and work and its meaning.
Yes, who but an Italian American could write something with such a seductive title, Machines of Loving Grace.
Loving
There you go. Well, I took a look at this one. It's a long article. I think it makes a good case for the optimist. I don't think it's overly naive. Of course, there are assumptions in there. I think it's pretty self-conscious about the hope for the good outcomes. And I think for me, I rated this important, maybe essential, but definitely important. It's a long read, but a good one. And he goes through how it could affect labor and how it could affect the discovery of new disease solutions and climate and so forth. So I think it's worthwhile, read for the positive side of what these machines could do. I wouldn't put it as essential, but it's a great philosophical background and an optimistic treatise by our friend who's obviously deep into this as a founder of Anthropic. What did you think, Ankash?
John, I think it's certainly an important read. He doesn't go into the AGI and stuff. He has kept it really sort of what is the art of possible in the next few years and how we can be optimistic about all these different areas. So definitely a good read for anyone looking to leverage GenAI in their organizations and just getting some examples or inspiration on how to sort of go about doing that.
All right, Nick, Ari, where are you guys on this?
Considering this is for an AI leader, I think it's an important one for us because for AI leaders, because when we look at use cases, they are across different various fields of businesses, and I would consider it as an important read to really understand what the land space looks like. So I would like to give it as an important one for me.
All right.
Yeah.
So important it is. What do you think, Nick?
Yeah, I concur.
All right. Important it is. Ankaj, next.
The next one comes from latent space and it talks about how H100s are being sold for $2 an hour. Last year, the rate was around $8 an hour, but now it has come to under $2. So it talks about the economics of GPUs and about the organizations or companies who are investing in these GPUs, whether they will be able to get ROIs on their investments or not.
Yeah, very interesting, incredibly dynamic market. I remember when I was an MBA student at Harvard Business School, one of the cases we had was on a company called ITEL that was leasing mainframe computers and lost their shirt. Anyway, what'd you think of this, Ari?
I think this, for an AI leader, this is going to be an important one, because I know that there has been a.
I think we lost you, Ari. I don't know if you can hear us.
Can you hear me?
We can now.
Yeah. So I know that there has been a discussions around the fact that the demand for GPUs have been falling, but when you look at, say, Blackwell or Hope, these demands keep on increasing. So GPUs are an important concept or important area when it comes to an AI leader. But like I said, we know that it has been in decline, the demand for them, but I would still consider this to be important, because we don't know which side things are going to move, whether it's going to, we might still be needing them. And if you look at NVIDIA and all, say, I think it's an important one.
So we're headed for important. Where are you, Nick, on this?
Yeah, I mean, as technology, advances and becomes more readily, available, and, everything just improves, of course, prices are going to come down. I think that's just kind of the nature of it, and, what we should expect and hope for. And so, kind of understanding the dynamics and, the reasoning behind that is pretty important. So I think this, I'd say this is an important read.
Yeah, it's a long read, but I thought pretty well put together in terms of how to think about the economics of these things. And there's a lovely quote in here about GPUs being the fastest appreciating asset in history. And I'm not sure that's exactly true, but it's in the right zip code. Ankash, what do you think?
Yep. To your point, John, it mentions foundational models and then GPUs, the fastest depreciating assets in history. And I think with the changing nature of the large language models itself, so we are seeing a lot in terms of small language models coming into picture and running them on non-GPU hardware. So this is certainly a point of contention for the GPU manufacturers, NVIDIA, Cerebras, and others. But then on the other side, if you look at the demand for these things, so Elon Musk requesting Jensen to give them those 100,000 H100s or more. So I think things are not as dire as they have mentioned in the article itself. So the demand will keep on coming. But yeah, once we have models running on different hardware than GPUs, then I believe the prices will be in a free fall.
Fascinating. Yeah, I mean, there's a concept here in economics you may remember from your Econ 101 class of how elastic a good is, which is, if price goes up, you continue to buy the same amount. And, for early going here, this is a pretty inelastic good. That is, people have to buy it. And so in which case, like energy, it trades, the two extremes are, cost with, Saudi Arabia, $5 a barrel, to value. And, a lot of people talk about the value of a barrel of oil being over $200, kind of the high end. And so here we go, going from value to cost, maybe. Interesting. All right. Important is, it's interesting. Vivek saying, hey, look, use cases become more prevalent. Frontier model owners are the ones that will invest in the expensive GPUs. I agree with that, Vivek. I just think it's interesting from a rental and a total cost of ownership perspective. That's why I stuffed it up into important. All right. Important is next.
The next one comes from OpenAI, and it talks about how they have introduced a new framework titled Swarm for building multi-agent systems.
Yeah, I was, this article itself is not very good, I don't think. But I was poking around in other areas in terms of like what Swarm brings to the party in terms of its definition of microservices, It's architecture for messaging, it's self-healing ability, it's self-organizing capability. So I'm at a bit of a loss here because I would make the case that the announcement that Swarm is essential. This article is optional. So I don't know. What do you folks think we should do here?
Yep, John, I think I would channelize my inner Luda here and say that this is not really here for use in production or sort of use for us right now. So only a concept is out there which we can't really use right now. So maybe optional on that front, but certainly something to look out for, something coming out of OpenAI focused on multi-agent systems. So definitely important from that perspective, but still can't use it. So maybe optional.
So you think it optional on both the article and the concept right now?
I think concept is important, John, but article is optional, right?
All right, we got one essential, one optional. Help us, Nick, Ari.
I would I would say this is an optional considering where we are with the concept right now. So I would give it an optional right now. So maybe we can look at this in a few weeks or months, depending on how quickly they progress. But yeah, optional for me now.
All right, Nick, help me
Yeah, I
out
mean,
here. I'm getting swamped by
still,
optionals.
still kind of very early on in the development phase, it seems like, and I think once it starts to materialize a little bit for more, and we kind of can learn a little bit more about it, then I think it'll become essential news eventually. But for now, I think we should leave it as optional.
All right, so we're going from essential to optional. I'm getting severely outvoted here. The mob has taken over. The monarchy is gone. We're going optional. Next.
John, just to highlight, Michael Novak is saying that it's hint of what is yet to come, distributed AI via agent coordination.
Yes, absolutely. Agree. Important for the near future. All right. All right.
Okay, the
Optional
next
on
one
this
comes
one,
from
back and so forth. All right. Next. Companies. Yes.
Yes, this from Wall Street Journal talking about how companies had fun experimenting with AI till now, but from next year onwards, maybe they have to show the returns. So, John, I think this is a nothing burger. Just talking about a few sort of statements here and there from different leaders. So, optional for me.
All right. We get an optional for this, as my grandmother would call it, a lick and a promise article. Not much in here. What do you think, Ari or Nick? Gonna make the case for important or essential?
No, no, I'm totally there with you. At the end of the day, it's an op-ed, it's an opinionated article, and it kind of goes into how the vast majority, of AI products are still in the testing phase, but also that they kind of need to break these big projects into chunks and make it more, actually just more or less work on the process of implementation because a lot of that has led to some backlog. And so, I really think that this kind of illustrates some of the kind of hardship that can go along with kind of mismanagement of implementing an AI project. And, I think that can be relevant, but again, this is just an opinionated piece, nothing really too much of substance.
Yes, I would say this is below the robots. There's no substance to this thing. It's like, hey, you spend a lot of dough, you're going to have some ROI. A couple of quotes, one from Eric Brynjolfsson, ex of MIT, now at Stanford. Then we have the CTO of WW Grainger, a fantastic, $15-20 billion industrial distributor, but it's optional. Okay. Next and last, we have LeCun.
The next one comes from Jan LeCun, and he says that the current version of AI is dumber than a cat.
All right, dumber than a cat. Cat's pretty smart. What do folks think here? And what?
Yeah.
Nick, you want to
So
give it a
John,
shot? Huh? Go ahead.
yes, I think, yeah, I think Jan LeCun, he has been saying this for a while now that we can't achieve sort of reasoning robots with the current set of large language models. And I think he's just commenting more on the same in this particular one as well.
All right. I was headed for optional as well. I think the whole frame of how to talk about this is wrong. We shouldn't be comparing it to animals and to humans and so forth. We should be looking at, what kind of intelligence it already has. I mean, I think depending upon your definition of intelligence, if you can perceive a situation, judge it, and then take action, and then learn in sequential capabilities and even suggest alternatives, I think that's intelligence. And so I think we have machine intelligence already. Who cares if it, thinks like a cat? There's so many things we don't know about animals, even like we don't know if, we don't know how homing pigeons work, and how, or how, do they, there's some theory around how certain kinds of quantum effects actually help them, and I don't exactly understand how, but help them find their way, back to their nesting grounds. So, thinking like an animal, we act like that's, it's not as smart as the cat. Well, the cat has magical things in it that we don't understand. Anyway, yes.
And I think we should really sort of measure we shouldn't measure intelligence on a spectrum where whether it's human intelligence or animal intelligence. It's more about the outcomes that we are able to achieve through Gen AI. If we are able to reduce the cost of a call center agent to $9 an hour basis and LLM that we can use, so I don't think there is anything wrong with using LLMs to do that, right? That kind of intelligence is sufficient for us if people can do better things than just attending the sort of as call center agents.
Yes, I think Lucinda Lind helps us, shoot the rapids here between the Scylla of excessive optimism and the Charybdis of despair. This Lacoon's talking about AGI, and that's not that's really not the current concern of the AI leader, most of them anyway. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's it's like I don't think my cat could score in the 90th percentile for the LSAT. So I think, these GPTs and LLMs are, great at a number of things, and kind of, they just like anyone else, they have their areas where they're strong and areas where they are weak, need improvement. And that's where the human edge comes into to help out.
Yes, no, for sure. And Vivek is saying as well, not a great comparison. Yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, I think, look, we already have this thing that I agree more with, the founder of Anthropic. These things are already doing amazing things. They think differently, they think faster. It's really about our interaction with them in a symbiotic way. As Marshall McLuhan said, we shape our tools and our tools shape us. And I think that, yeah, anyway, optional. All right. So Ankash, where are we? I think we have a light reading day. I get voted down on my essential. I don't think we have any essentials. Here we are. All right. We have 2 importance and 4 optionals. Great to start in on the holiday. For those of you who have a holiday, for those of you who are working, not a lot of reading necessary here. And tonight we have a learning lab. I can't believe this. I forget who is presenting at the learning lab. Ankash, do you remember by any chance, or Nick or Ari?
Get Rosemary, John.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Rosemary's going to give us an update on her research into marketing uses of Gen AI and so forth. We saw some amazing stuff at our conference where Pete Blackshaw, who is a world expert, as Rosemary is on, the use of AI in marketing, said that they're seeing 60 to 70% of folks are willing to get product recommendations from an LLM, which, is some big news for our friends at Google for sure. So, Michael Novak reminds us it's Thanksgiving Day in Canada. And we've got Lucinda. We're still having the conversation about, humans versus machines. So, Learning Lab tonight, 7 Eastern. Please like the channel and sign up for it if you find this useful. And look forward to talking to you all tomorrow AM, where the news never stops.